Hello. So welcome to basics, very basics of the logic layout and some simple introductions into logic. You may be coming from a different software. You may be coming from no software. Maybe you're upgrading from GarageBand. Maybe you have a different software and you're trying to compare the two to tell your mates which one's better and that your purchase was better than theirs or something like that. Welcome, one and all. This is Logic Pro. I will show you stuff that's nice and open, so it is going to be in context with other stuff. If you use Pro Tools, Ableton, Fruity Loops, all that kind of FL Studio. If you use any of those, not to rip on FL, it's pretty good. They're all just as good as each other. They all have their pros, they all have their cons. My one recommendation, which I'll get out of the way instantly now, is if you are using an Apple machine and you're not using Logic, power to you. I only would recommend Logic over the rest of them because they're all pretty goddamn similar, because mostly it's all in plugins anyway. But they're all pretty goddamn similar. The only reason why I'd recommend Logic over the other ones is because Logic is Apple, which means it has priority. It comes to software and updates and stability. I, for one, and many people that I know who use Logic, have almost zero issues ever with the software. It is incredibly reliable, and Apple put a lot of time and effort into it. There are some bugs and things that can occur when you are a heavy user of Logic and you do a lot of stuff with it. Things can occur, much like anything else. However, the support is unbelievable. And the forums and the people who use Logic all have fixes, and it's all quick fixes. I know people who use Pro Tools, and when I've used Pro Tools myself, I've come across issues and stumbled across issues. I do a quick Google search to fix the issue, and I just find a lot of people in forums who have the same issue as me and no accurate fix or way to do it. It's just, hopefully the next patch will do it, or roll it back a few patches and you'll do it, which I hate. So, which is why I much prefer to use Apple if I'm on a Apple machine. If I'm on a Windows machine, you've got one hell of a market to go through, so your pick. Anyway, I want to get that out of the way now. You can dislike, unsub, and DDoS my nan all you want. I'm sure she'll enjoy it. I just like Logic. I prefer it over the other stuff I've used. There you go. That's it. So, starting your project, this is what you're going to get. Software, audio, drummer, external MIDI, guitar, or bass. You'll also get some parameters within these. If I was to open up a drummer, it would give me a drummer and would have a generic rock, a genre rock, or alternative percussion. I can open the library. I can do the outputs. My device is a multi-output device because that's what I'm recording on. Blah, blah, blah. I can change all of this. So it goes. Anyway, so if I want to open up a software instrument, I'm going to have an empty channel strip. I can make this one of my patches if I have them. I'm going to have my output. I can change the output if I want. I can also have no output and put a different one on later. I can just have it as a bus. That's how it goes. You can also, again, open the library, multi-timbral, timbral. When you have an instrument, like, for example, if I'm using a string patch, like a violin patch, and that's the instrument that I want to open, or maybe I want to open Spitfire or whatever kind of plugin that you have, you can open same versions of that. So, for example, if I had a Spitfire string patch, I can have 8 parts of that, making it multi-timbral, yelling timber, and I can have legato, staccato, that kind of patch, and it will all be in the one. I would only have to load the plugin once. I wouldn't have to load the plugin 8 times, so I can use the plugin 8 times, but only it won't any. Anyway, that's some crazy stuff we're not going to get into. So, number of tracks also 1. Just for sick demonstration, let's do 10. Why not? You can even do 100, you can do 1,000, whatever the hell, to your heart's content. Let's open this. Here we are. Logic Pro, 10 tracks. So, instantly, that's too small for me. You can hold a button, or you can... I've got a hotkey set up. My keyboard's a little bit custom, so my buttons are different to yours. I might get the button wrong. It's one of the 2 next to the spacebar to the left. I'm not 100% sure. Mine's custom, so I can't tell you. In the right here, what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to press a button that's going to do these for me. So in the top here, you can change the size and the length of your project, like so. I have a button that I press with a magic mouse that allows me to do that. with great ease. I highly recommend having this set to a hotkey and setting that up. Anyway, so I've got Logic now. I've got the project set up. I like this. It's fine. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go all around the software and see what's new, see what's different. Okay, so these are my tracks. Let's go top left here. So we have here our library. If you remember when we were going to make a new project, it asked us to open the library. I can show you that here. Open library. That's this. I don't have them downloaded because I don't use them, but I've got these downloaded. You can have the library. So now we have Clav. Let's do a Koto clone. Oh. Whoops. Anyway, so you can do a Koto. All this kind of stuff. I don't have them downloaded again, but if you did have them downloaded, you could use this stuff. This is when you open a library, you can open this and have them in there. That's the library. You can change at any point. So maybe you don't like the jazz later, you can make it soul. And if you want to have 2, you can have, let's have a soul and a funk. And we can do it between the 2. I can record arm both of them, pressing the R. I can play both at the same time now. I can record arm all of them if I wanted. Like so. All I've done there is I have shift click. So let me do that again. So if I want to solo, I can just click and drag, and I am still holding click here, and then I've let go. If I just click once and drag, it doesn't do anything. I have to click, hold, and drag, and it will do all of them. So to record arm all, I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and it will turn all of those on. So if I was to record now, see? Now I've got a recording on all of them. But this is my main layer here. So this is that. That's some more in-depth stuff for another video, and record arms and what you can do with that kind of stuff. I'll leave this up for now. Let's get rid of these by shift click, hold shift click, get rid of. So what I want to do now is make a new layer. I'm going to close this down. I want to make a new layer. Click plus. We are greeted with this box again. I'm going to have an empty channel strip. I'm going to have, everything that I had before. Number of tracks, I want 1. And we're going to press create. So now we have our new MIDI layer or instrument layer. Make a new audio layer. Let's do that. No input. When you're doing an audio layer, be very careful about your input monitoring. If you have microphones plugged in, set up, turned on, and you have input monitoring on, and you're not aware of your volume, you could incredibly loud piercing feedback noise if you don't watch your input monitoring. You also might scare yourself if you hear your own voice for a second. So just be careful of that. Let's just create that one. Easy as that. Now I can record. Depending on what my input is, which should be set here. If I set it to input 1, I wonder if that's going to do my voice. Ba ba ba. It does. There we go. Ba ba ba. That's me. Yes, get rid of. I never want to hear that again. So we're back to this now. This is the I for information. You can actually just press I for information. I don't deal with this kind of stuff. I know what it does. However, you can have a play with it by all means. I will show you a different way to do this kind of stuff. The way I do it, I don't use this. I do it differently. So just for example, this stuff is about quantization, and this stuff is about track parameters, piano roll stuff, automation, that kind of stuff. So don't worry, we'll go through this soon. I just don't do it here, so I won't do it there. I will show you how I do it, and you're welcome to do it either way you'd like. So this is your track strip here. this is the same as here. It's just here. So you have these effects. If you press X on your keyboard, I believe it's X for you, you will open up a mixer. The other way to open the mixer is to go to Window at the top, and you have Mixer in here somewhere. Open Mixer. So you can do Propeller 2, or you can press X. Propeller 2 will open it in its own window here. So if you have multiple screens, you can drag it over to these other screens, and you can have your setup looking like an absolute boss. So you can move this higher, lower, you can change all that stuff. It'll only go as high as that because there's just dead space above it. If you do open up a mixer window, you can actually send that to the moon for no reason whatsoever. So this is the same here. We've got stereo output, master output. You can do all your, if you see it moves together here, it moves in 3 places, moves here, moves here. You know what I mean? They all talk to each other. So, mixer. Let's go through this. We've got settings. You can change the channel settings here. I don't think there's any reason for you to do this unless you know what you're doing. There's no reason for me to go through this because if you were to edit this, you would know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, feel free to have fun. I don't think you can get much wrong here. You're not going to break anything, and you can always make a new project. So, EQ. EQ is EQ. That's what EQ is. You can turn stuff on and off. You can see it goes blue when it's on and off. Again, this is also reflected in the mixer window, but not reflected here, which is why you need your channel information. So there's an on and off to the left. In the middle, if you click that, it reopens this. On the right-hand side, where the arrows are, if you click and hold, you can change the plugin or remove the plugin with no plugin. So let's add in, let's do a EQ, let's add a reverb. Let's add step FX. So now I've got all this stuff open. So I can turn them on and off. Close them down. I can also arrange the order if I want the EQ to come last, maybe the FX to come first. You know, I can change the order, that kind of thing. Turn them all off, or I can get rid of them all as such. And we go to blank. Instrument. This is where you can add your patches. So let's say I want to add in a retro synth. I now have a retro synth. Play. Space. Yeah, so you got a retro synth, you can change your plugins there. You cannot add more than one instrument to this, but you can, what you can do is add, like we did before, a new track. To save time, I know I'm going to add a retro synth, so I can just instrument, retro synth. This is going to set it up straight away. Let's add 10 of them, like we did before. Now we're going to have 10 retro synths, which is going to be incredibly loud. So if I shift click, highlight them all, I can turn them down, and I can play them all by doing what we did before, which is record arming them all. Yep, you see the point. See how that goes. Let's get rid of all of this. Let's do quiet now. I'm pressing the leftmost spacebar key. It's not the propeller, is it? It's the other one. I can't remember. Command, is it? I can't remember. Anyway, to put that back to full. If I double click it, I can manually enter the number that I want, and it will go there. But I don't want to do that. So, I'll keep the retro synth up for now. Then we can do our sends. We can create a bus. We have many a bus, many a bus. Let's do number 1, and let's send to the bus. If we press X or open our mixer, you know, propeller 2, all the stuff went through before. It's here. So this is our bus layer. I can rename it if I so choose. A bus of 1. And let's send to the bus. We have a bus. That's how buses work. If I just solo the bus, you can hear it comes through. I'm going to get rid of the bus, by holding this and using no send, but let's go crazy. Let's do that in the mixer window. No send. So now, no bus. Sad times. But the bus shall remain until I right click. Not right click, sorry, just backspace, and I can delete the bus. I'll bring the bus back. Buses. I have a whole video on buses. If you don't see it now, it will be in future. I'll leave a link when it's available. I show you all about buses and reverbs and why you should, shouldn't, what you should do, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Outputs. If you don't want this to make any sound, so for example, if I want only the bus to make sound, let's do this again. So I'm sending to the bus. If I want no output here, only the bus makes noise. If I solo this, no, because it's being sent. Yeah, you're gonna have to trust me that it's only the bus making noise. By the fact that now it's louder because I put it back to stereo output. Okay, if you wanted to do that, so for example, if you had drums, like if you had separate layers for kick, snare, hats, crash, blah, blah, blah. If you had separate layers for all of this, toms, all that stuff, you could mute all the audio from them and just send them all to one bus. So they're all controlled on one thing, you know, that kind of stuff. Again, I have a bus tutorial for that kind of thing. What am I doing? No send. Go away. Back to normal. Let's mix up the retro synth here. Horns. I bet these sound beautiful. Oh no, I can't do horns. That is a shame. Let's see what I can do. I gotta be able to do ES2. We have ES2. Let's just pick a random bass groove. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna have some fun. Okay. So we have a new patch here. As easy as that, simple as that. We can add our effects to it too, if we wanted. We can add our audio effects to it too. If I want to add, what do I want to add here? Let's just add a filter, auto filter. Turn it off. Turn it on. You know, simple stuff like that. No. So let's make this a bearable patch. Filter passage. We're back in Cyberpunk. Groups. You can do groups. I won't do groups because I don't do groups. Easy as that. I will show you another way to do that kind of stuff soon. So here we also have a way to make bigger or smaller. That doesn't work without context. So for example, those are my tracks as standard. I want this one to be the big boy. So looks like that. That also reflects if I record. It's now massive. See? Simple as that. Let's delete this. Let's make this smaller. Okay, so we are on to now this one here, which is read, touch, latch, write. These all do what they say on the tin. You will understand this very soon. If I press this button, I open up something called automation. Let's make this bigger. So I open up something called automation. I also press A for automation. So if I click now, I can now edit the volume because this is the one that's set here. I can draw this in and it will do what it says, which is read. It will read my volume. It's going to turn up. It's going to turn down. It makes no sense unless I... There we go. It turns up, turns down. I can highlight and delete. I can highlight some and move. I can also move up and down and around. I can do everything. So I've got rid of all the automation now, so I can actually just turn it back up here, and we're here. If I had the automation still on, whoops, I can't change the volume. If I do change the volume, it will just revert back to, so if I turn this up full, this should go full volume, but it won't. It will just read what has been done and go whoop straight back down. That's how read works. So let's put this back to normal volume. And I'm going to change this to touch. What touch is simply this. If I press record, I can now Put my own in. Which sounds fun. If you have MIDI controllers at your desk, physical buttons and twisties and boppets and punch it and sockets, you can do all this on your desk and feel like a real musician, which is endless fun. So let's put this back to normal. The other thing we can do here is a pan. You can go left, you can go right. Do I really need to? If you're wearing headphones, welcome. So we've got this stuff. We can change to the region, change the track. So I don't do this here. I will show you what this is in 2 seconds. We have mute, we have solo, all the basic stuff here. So now what I'm going to do is go back to no automation layer. If I so choose to double click, I can open up something called the piano roll. Again, there's other ways to open the piano roll. If I go to O window and propeller 4, I can have it on its own window. The other thing I can do is maybe I've used the piano roll in here and I think, I want it on its own window. I can click and I can click and drag the piano roll out and it will give me a window. So if I have, again, multiple screens, I can enjoy that there. So this is our piano roll. All the piano roll does is show us the MIDI in the file. We can change the piano roll to score, like so. If you're going to use, if you are the theoretical person, so inclined, and you want to use the score, Logic's not very good at the score. There is other programs that do it far better than Logic, as I'm sure you're aware, if you have anything to do with musical theory. So I would use them and implement them into Logic through MIDI, which I know those stuff you can export in. That's much better to do. The score can make many mistakes. Smart tempo, there's nothing we need to do with that right now. Oh look, a quick help. Step sequences we can't have right now for here, but it's basically a sequencer which you can get on the patches here anyway, so that's okay. So we have our file. So if you remember at the start, I went about telling you about this region stuff here and the quantization things. I do all of this in here. So what quantization does is if I'm off the line a little bit, I can press the Q and boom, it will snap me to that cue. Maybe I want to change this to at the start of the beat, so I can then use quantize and it will snap to the second or maybe the first. Or maybe I want it to snap to the 8th, which is where it originally was. It will go and find the nearest 8th note. That's how that works, quantization. You can also change how strong it is at doing that, and the swing, maybe you want it to have a swung feeling. You can also quantize in key if you have a specific key. Maybe this could help you if you aren't too good at music, much like myself. You can pick a key and it will stay in that key for you, so you can't ever be out of key. Velocity, this is all getting into stuff here now, where we can change our velocity and our keys and things like that are all here. So velocity is how hard the note is hit. I don't think this has a... it does. Okay, so velocity is how hard... Whoops. So see, I've gone over there. What I'm going to do is quantize to the first, and there it's back. So velocity changes how hard the key is hit. It's at 1, so it's not hit very hard. I'm going to do it max. Whoops, I'm going to actually highlight it and then do it to the max. Now it's hit much harder. Now it's hit much softer. That's how velocity works. Nice and simple. I do have videos out, if not coming out, about this kind of stuff, depending on whenever this order is released. So that is velocity, how velocity works. That is the piano roll and how the piano roll works. There's other things that you can do here, like humanizing and stuff like that, and half speed, double speed, crescendos, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. That's just MIDI manipulation. It's fun. It should be done. Again, I have videos on some of this stuff, especially humanizing and working with MIDI. Feel free to watch that stuff. Check it out. You have automation in here too. So as I said, with this, where you can edit. I've lost it. We've lost it. So when you go to open up the automation in here, you see how we can edit the region. Well, instead of doing that, you can just have the track here, and then whoops. And then if we edit in here, again, we just click and press A to open up the automation, or we can just click this button here. We can actually edit the region here, which gives you, I believe, more access. So you've got a track edit here and a region edit here, rather than having a track and a region and having to switch between the two. Again, you can switch the track here if you want to do a quick change. That's how that works. If you want to get to note velocity, that's a bit, oh god, nice and pleasing. Let's try quantize these and see what it sounds like. 1/8. Nice. Okay, so we've got notes here. These all show up in my automation MIDI. So you can see these little dots here, barely. They are each note. If I was to change the velocity of, whoops. If I was to change the velocity of this note, it moves. And this note. Let's turn this note way down. Now I've got the velocity of every note here. What I can do is make this smaller so it's a little bit more easy to see. So we can see the velocity of all the notes. Also what we can do is draw the velocity in. Maybe I want it to go up or down as such. And just go level again. Maybe a little bit different. Maybe I want to change it in the middle. All that kind of stuff's all in here. Maybe I want to change the modulation. I can draw this in, much like our volume automation before. Like so. The other thing we can do is go over to here. If I go to region, I can go to modulation and look. Let's combine everything in here. Oh, that's changing volume. I want to change. It's going to do volume. It's going to keep doing that. But yeah, look, it all comes into here now. Look. That's in the region. But it's not on the track. So we have automated the region volume, not the track volume. So I can actually have this doing many things. I've done so much that it's broken. Okay, it's not broken, I broke it. Let's get rid of all this. And if we want to go back to note velocity real quick, we can click that. Where are we? We are back. Okay. So we have automation. This is flex timing or stretch timing. I think it's flex timing. Okay. We can, this is audio manipulation, so we can literally stretch time longer or shorter, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's how it works. It's a very fun tool. It can be a little bit confusing. It requires a dedicated tutorial on its own. But to be honest, if you want to just play around with it, you could easily, quite easily figure it out. Moving on, let's go to what we have here is a quick help button, which is obviously, if you don't want me, you can use this. This will open up some more stuff here that you can use. This is helpful. I don't use this because I do it all on hotkeys. Like join, I use J. Split, I use propeller T. So split is like if I want to split this here, I'll highlight it and then propeller T, and I can split. And you can either keep both sides, shorten both sides, you know, this kind of thing. Stuff like repeating and copying and stuff, I just the command button or whatever and just, you know, drag across. But again, if you don't want to do that, you can do that here. The nudge value is when you nudge stuff around. Can I do that here? Can't remember the key for it. I don't use it. But when you move stuff to the right and left, you can choose how much you want to move it to the right and left. I will explain that in more detail, those values in more details when I look at snapping. Let's look at snapping now, actually. So snapping means if you see when this gets to a certain part, it will snap to that line. I can make it snap more. So if I go to bar, it will snap to only the bars. Look, I'm in the middle here and it's not moving. I have to go all the way to the bar before it lets me snap. I can make that less by doing it on beats. Now it's only going to do beats, divisions, all the in-betweens. Then I can do stuff like frames, which is really, really fine tuning. Or I can do quarter frames, which is even finer look. The only problem with doing this is it's very, very hard to line these up. So the best thing to do is smart, which gives you the best of all worlds and lets you also snap. So maybe I didn't want to get so close to the 2. I can switch it to, whoops, quarter frames and go close to 2. And then back to smart. Or I can zoom way in here and I can just do it little by little here and zoom back out when I'm done. Easy as that. That's how that works. So let's go into here. This is plugin controls and effects controls. This is a tutorial in itself, as this is whatever effects and parameters you've got on your tracks, or your master track, for example, will all come in here, and you can edit it all in here. That's very in-depth. I can't go into that now, I don't have time. This is the mixer. If you want to open the mixer without Propeller 2 or pressing X, if you see me pressing X, it opens it up. This is the piano roll. If you don't want to press, maybe it's Propeller 2 for the piano roll. Oh, Propeller 4 for the piano roll? Yeah, 4. So if you don't want to do that, you don't want to double click to open the piano roll, you can just do it here. Does it show the hotkeys when you highlight? Yeah, E. E is to open the editor. This will be X. Yeah, so it shows all the hotkeys there if you hover. Okay, so here we've got basic controls, back, forward, stop, space, record, loop. I don't use any of those buttons physically or clickily. I do that myself, so if I want to go back, I'll press enter. That's the same as doing this. Does it show the hotkey? No, it says oh. Oh. That didn't work. What does it mean? Oh. How strange. Anyway, so I press enter to go back to the start of the track, which is essentially like pressing this. Play and pause. Spacebar, superstar. Record is R. Red means recording. C, the loop. So if I want to loop this, I can press C. When you have a loop enabled, it will, no matter where your playhead is, which is this thing, it will start at the start of the loop. You can move the playhead once you've started the song, but once you pause it and play again, it will go back to the loop. And obviously, for the sake of demonstration, it will loop, 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 loop. Like so. So I've turned this off. If I want to turn it back on, just press C. Or I can drag as such. Turn on and off, you know. I can also move the loop. Maybe I want to turn it back. That kind of stuff. Looping. This I don't use ever, so I've no need to tell you that. I've never found a reason to use that. Maybe I should. Tuning. If you have audio, you can tune your whatever it is you've got, maybe your guitar, some sort of string instrument, blah, blah, blah. You can tune it using a built-in tuner. It works fine if you have like a direct input or something like that. I've not found an issue with a tuner. It's only an issue if your instrument is poor, or maybe your mic is poor or something like that, or it's not like a direct line, or you know what I mean. So tuner, tuner. Solo. I solo using this. I've got a little bit more control over each track when I do this. This kind of does a different kind of solo. It's solo locking or something like that, I believe it's called. Yeah, look, solo lock. So don't worry about that. You can just solo in here, or I believe you can just press S. These are your recording countings. So if I want to hit record, but I want some time to do it, I can press that and press R. It gives me a nice little counting. I can also turn the metronome on. Everyone loves the metronome. I can turn the metronome on for just playing, or I can have it on for just recording. So when I hit record, I then hit the metronome. Now I've got a metronome. Or no metronome. It is my choice. No bar loop, no metronome. 4-bar entrance and metronome. Record. Simple as that. So if you can see there that that's actually purple, that means that when I press R or press record, it will have the metronome because I've turned it on. If I turn it off while I'm recording here and stop recording, like so, it's not highlighted purple anymore because it isn't on. Simple as that. This is your volume. I wouldn't change this one, the master one. The one I would change is most likely the stereo one, but I usually wouldn't change either of them anyway. What I would change is the individual track and mix them individually to the 0 of the master or stereo. Where are we here? We have the, can't remember the name of this. Is it events view or project view or something? This is basically list editors. I don't use this. I've never used this. These are, I will show you here. These are these here. So what you can do is change your arrangement. So you can have, this is my arrangement here, and maybe add another arrangement here. So intro, look, verse, it's already labeled them. Maybe within the intro, I want a marker to show singing starty, sig start, nice. Sing starting, or maybe somewhere else, like maybe in the verse, I want another marker here that shows solo or something like that, you know, so they're all here for you to see. These will now be in here. If I look at my markers, look, they're here, and my events. So that's for that. I can change. I can also remove them if I so wish. Signatures, time signatures. I have a whole video on time and signatures. If you change the signature, it will change here. I can add a new signature look. I can add 7, whoops, 8, and okay, and it will change my time signature up here for me. It will also change the metronome, as you'll see. Like so. So that's all there. Just going to turn that off. I'm going to also remove that signature. Tempo, you need to change the tempo. I believe you know how that's going to work. But it's also got a fun thing where you can use this little thing and change the curve. How fun. So speaking of changing curves, there is a fun tool which is, turn that off. Let's play another key. Beautiful. So we have our key here. I double click to open this. Put that down, turn that across. And because they're not all exactly accurate, I'm going to quantize. Beautiful. So we have our note here. What I can do is, as we've already seen, I'm going to press A to automate. And I'm going to turn the volume up. So we've seen that, but I'm going to use a new fun tool. So these little things up here. Also, if you notice in the piano roll, let's just double click here. If you notice in the piano roll, I also have more examples here. So these work the same. I'll show you in here. This is your left click, which is my pointer tool. I can change my left click to a pencil tool. So now I will, whoops, I will pencil in new stuff. Oh, don't move. Oh, let's see. I made a mistake there. Because it's my left click, I tried to highlight and delete. But it's on my pencil, so I can't. So I need to go to pointer. Now I can highlight and delete. I never change pencil. I usually change this one on the right, because this one on the right is your command click. If you hold command, it will even say, I believe. Yeah, so if you hold command, you can then hold command and then click. If you see I hold command, it changes the logo or icon. You can then, you know, have more control. So a fun tool in here is the automation curve tool. So we made this automation before. We've automated the volume going up. If I hold command and then click and drag, I can automate the curve. Make it a little bit more fun. Let's go the other way. Oh, it's figuring it out. Press enter, spacebar. Look at the fun we can have. Let's go back to where we were before. And let's move this back to marquee tool. Not that it matters. Unsolo. Unautomate. And there we go. So let's go on here. This is your notes. If you want to make notes, you can notes here. So if I've got a film or something, I can do at 320 loud bang. You know, stuff like that. However you want to write your notes. Whoops, that's not backspace. So you can do it for the project, you can do it for the individual track. If I go to a new track, it will change my notes. Should I show you that? So if I do a note here that says blah, 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 and then go to a new track, look, there's no notes on this track, but there is notes on this track. I believe that makes sense. This is the project-wide, no matter which track I go to, because it's the project, it's notes on all of it. That's how that works. Loops. These are your loops. GarageBand was very, very big with loops. Very, very good with loops too. Logic is more of the same. It's incredible loops. Very fun. You can just add in loads of stuff. They will match the tempo and key and stuff of your track too. So loops are so fun. It's how I started using electronic music and things like that, and editing music. I highly recommend it. There's so much stuff that you can do here with loops. Again, I've got videos on my channel about audio manipulation and things like that. So again, you can go into that if you like. Here, I'm not going to open this, but this opens up the browser. What this does is shows you a directory for all your files on your computer. So for example, if you have some stuff that you would like to import, like some samples of a drum kit or songs or whatever somewhere in a folder on your computer, you can use the file directory, search for that file, drag and drop it in, easy as that. I have a video on bouncing and that kind of stuff as well to help you with that kind of thing, and bouncing into projects and, you know, file storage and stems and organizing that kind of stuff. That's that one. This is just to resize stuff. If I get that loop back, or let's get a new loop for the fun. If I get this and then use this, it just makes the waveform larger. So maybe if it's a super quiet waveform, like this bit here, this was all you're working with. Let's just do that. So I'm going to drag this down and I'm going to put T. So this is my size of the waveform. It's hard to see. I can just make it a little bit bigger. As easy as that. And the other ones do a similar job too. But again, I've got all that on a hotkey, so I've got more control. And I think that's almost everything I could possibly show you to get you into what Logic is going to give for you. As far as running through this kind of stuff, there is a million things in here that you can change for preferences. They all have subcategories, they all have advanced categories within. You can change all that stuff. As far as files concerned, you can do all your bouncing or your saving. You can do all your editing here, like splits and stuff. Again, I use Propeller T, which is written there. Or you can do the, what was the thing? This one here. So you can up here. Whoops. Your track, you can make new tracks, duplicate tracks. If you know that when you make a new track, you've got the option to create new ones. So if I go to create new track, I've got these options. Those options are just written here for easy access. There's also hotkeys bound to these. Again, I can just press the plus and create a track here. Many ways to do it. Duplicate track as well. You can just do, was it Propeller D? Yeah, just duplicate. I think it's the propeller anyway. Change all that stuff. You can do track colors. You can change the colors of stuff. Navigate. This is your marker things I've shown before. This is your recording, metronome settings. You can change your counting. Again, you can do that all on here, except here you can change how long your counting is, what your counting is, that kind of thing. This is your automation stuff. I've already showed you this. Mix. This is your show notepad, show your loop, show your browser. That's all the stuff over here, as well as up here. Window. This is where you can bring forward your stuff like piano roll, which you've done before, all that kind of thing. That's my display. I need to click that. Musical typing is a great thing, Command K. You can actually use your keyboard to type, and you can actually record with that. So if I want to record something, a little bit hard on a keyboard. So there you go, all that kind of stuff. I can also make this a actual keyboard. I can make it bigger, and I can actually draw. Beautiful. So, I've also pressed a load of buttons here. So I'm press I to open this back up again. And yeah, that's logic. A little bit of a crazy full-on crash course into this is everything it's got to offer from square one. There is so much more that you can do with this software. It's insane. Much like every other software, once you get into it, there's so much deeper that you can go and so much further into the software that just gets crazy. Logic has like a whole circuit switchboard for patch notes and stuff. If you've ever seen like Hans Zimmer or Deadmau5 with their giant wall of circuitry and retro synthesizers, things like that, that's all possible within Logic, as well as other doors as well. Just saying that this one is no exception. You know, they're all pretty damn similar. If you found something in another piece of software, there's chances that it's in here, vice versa. Anything I've showed you here or anything I've talked about is most likely going to be in another software, just a different way to do it. Enjoy if you're just starting out with Logic. I really heavily hope that you have as much fun as I do with this kind of software, because out of all of them, I love it. It's so user-friendly, so fun, so colourful. Yeah, so thanks very much, and don't forget to check out my other tutorials if you need any more pushing in the direction of Logic, or maybe you want some more pushing in how to use Logic or anything like that. Leave comments for anything I might be able to do that you might need to know if I haven't already got a video on it. So thanks very much. Goodbye.